to know you guys a little bit more. But again, today focusing on building and maintaining an online presence. Why do we want to do this presentation now? It is important all year round, but during AEP, when things do get a little bit of hustle and bustle and things happen, sometimes people let their online presence slip a little bit. It kind of falls to the back burner because we have so many things going on. I do understand that online presence and working in online presence has a nasty habit of keeping people really busy and not necessarily productive. But keep in mind, we actually looked at the numbers and the searches on Google, which is the #1 search engine, the searches on Google in relation to Medicare and Medicare related topics increased by almost 40% in the last quarter of the year. Duh, it's AEP. Joe Namath is going on blast advertising. Humana is doing their full blocks of talking about their plans. So a lot of people are researching more online. So whenever people are researching more online, but your online presence goes down a little bit, we want to make sure we correct that. So today my goal is to help you guys stay really productive and not get busy, sucked into what it takes to have a strong online presence. But a lot of people, when we talk about having an online presence, they say, I work with seniors. Why in the world do I need to worry about being online? So keep in mind that 66% of people over the age of 60 actually prefer shopping online. Something that I always mention is that make sure you are marketing and gearing your practices towards the business you want, not the business that you have. So if you're working with a lot of individuals who are 78, 79, that 76 plus range, then they are going to be less comfortable using the internet, and that's completely understandable. But if it was me and my business, I want to go after those wealthy baby boomers. They say they have more money to spend on policies, they stay on the books longer, they're a healthier book of business. So I'm actually going to be geared more towards trying to get those baby boomers. That's who is online, guys. Baby boomers are the individuals who actually are the ones who are the demographic that value convenience over any other demographic. And so not only is this demographic more comfortable shopping online, but due to the changes in COVID-19, they were actually more forced online and got really comfortable online and enjoyed the convenience of being online. So having an online presence, meeting the people, meeting the clientele where they're at is huge. You have to do that. Also keep in mind, most of the shopping is done before even meeting with an agent. Some studies show that close to 60%, about 58% of the actual holistic buying process is done before they even reach out to an agent. They're researching what is Medicare, what's a Med Sup, Medicare plans in my area. They're doing all that research online and a lot of times using you, the agent, to validate their choices. So you want to make sure who is going to be the agent they end up working with, the agent that gets in that process first. So make sure that you're online to be in that first 58%. Online presence is tied to credibility. In fact, a lot of research is showing that if you do not have an online presence, you are being seen as either not up to date, you are out of business, and there was a third one, out of date, or you're too small. You're too small and don't have the resources to help a client or help anybody. Now, according to, again, Bright Local, 87% of consumers will read online reviews before using particularly a local business. So if you aren't available online, you don't have a place to store those online reviews or even be able to create your own style of reviews. If you're not online, you lose almost all of your credibility. In fact, the majority of people said that they will not work with somebody if they're not able to find them online. And lastly, probably most importantly, familiarity and trust. Familiarity equals trust. Trust equals sales. It's kind of like if you look at a song on the radio. You hear a song for the first time and you absolutely hate that song. And eventually, because the way that we work, we hear that song over and over and over again, we end up finding ourselves like singing along to it. Again, because the more you hear something, the more you're around something, the more familiar you become with it. It's also an idea of why Nike and Under Armour, they're noted as some of the best actual sports attire, even though when you compare them to smaller, more local brands, they actually were rated lower in performance. It's because you're familiar with the brand, because you're familiar with them, you trust them, and you're more comfortable buying their product. So this is why having an online presence is so important, to go after that younger, healthier, and more affluent client, those baby boomers that we're talking about. So when we go into online presence, again, like I mentioned, we're going to break this down into two formats: Facebook and a website. Both of them very important. Both of them accomplishes two completely different things. So why Facebook? Facebook is actually the number one social media platform. In fact, 79% of all internet users have a Facebook account. So again, that does include the baby boomer demographic, but it also includes their kids and their families and their loved ones. If you want to make sure you have a policy that's sticky and that client stays with you, you have to make sure you win over the entire family, because a lot of times those decision makers aren't the baby boomers themselves. Now, Facebook is best for a business to consumer practice. It's best to relate on a business to consumer. It's not it is good for business to business, but we're really seeing a huge increase right now in LinkedIn. LinkedIn over the last 3 years, their usage and their advertising has skyrocketed. So LinkedIn is also a great platform, best for networking. We'll talk about that not today, but it is a conversation worth having. If I'm going to invest resources today, I'm investing it in a Facebook page. Another reason for that is because Facebook has the highest search engine optimization, aka SEO. Search engine optimization means on how quickly or how high are you going to pull up on Google. We always joke that the best place to hide a dead body is actually page 2 of Google, because when was the last time you ever clicked next page of Google? It doesn't happen. But keep in mind, carriers like United Healthcare, Mutual of Omaha, Aetna, and company and like Medicare themselves pay millions of dollars to be on page 1 of Google. So if you're thinking that if you have a website and that website's going to be on the page 1 or be highly seen on as far as traffic, you're not gonna have a good time. That's actually not the case. So Facebook, if you have a business page on Facebook, it's gonna pull much quickly or much more often than actually your own website. And that's because Facebook is the number one social media platform. It's also just keeping in mind as well, it does encourage interaction. We'll talk about the purpose of Facebook, but Facebook is designed to build a relationship on a mass basis. People want to work with humans. They don't like the idea of working with these giant corporations. They want that personal touch. Customization is huge, especially to those baby boomers. So they want to work with humans. Facebook allows people to talk to you, ask questions, you interact with them, comment, like, everything. It allows you to do that, but you don't have to do it on a one-off basis. You allow you to build personal relationships on a mass basis, which is huge. And don't forget, Facebook is free. It's completely free for you to offer and to have a Facebook page. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about having a Facebook business page. I don't recommend you doing a lot of this interaction on your personal page. I do recommend you doing it on your Facebook business page. We'll talk about that more here in a little bit. You'll still want a website. It's not a replacement for a website, but it does accomplish something completely different than what a website does. So if you're not quite there, you don't have the budget or the time to build a website, you can start with a Facebook page. More people are going to see your Facebook page than they are your website. So keep that in mind. And I appreciate you guys. I have really bad allergies this time of year, so I appreciate you guys. My voice sounds like I've gargled nails in like a cheese grater, so I appreciate your patience. It's not some like sexy cold thing I have. It's cold anyways, not the point. But so this is why we recommend Facebook. Now here's how. The biggest thing is, what I hear so many people mention is that I don't have time to Facebook. And I can understand that and appreciate that. Facebook has a horrible habit of keeping people very busy, because Facebook is addicting and you could really do a lot with it. But Facebook doesn't actually make us any money. We don't get paid to post on Facebook. We get paid to write applications. So keep in mind, maintaining your Facebook page. I am talking about having a business page, not your personal page. Personal pages are not going to be found as easy. The search engine opportunity isn't as great. So business page is actually going to pull much better, both on Google and within a Facebook page itself. And reminder, on Facebook, in order for people to see your content, they must like your page, also known as subscribing to your page. So the goal on Facebook is to get as many people as possible to quote unquote like your Facebook page. Otherwise, they don't see the content. Now, Facebook page is not a lead generating tool. Now, you can purchase Facebook leads. Keep in mind, I do not recommend creating your own Facebook leads. I recommend going through a vendor for Facebook leads, because Facebook Ad Manager, that's like, if this is a 101 course, Facebook Ad Manager is like a 401 course. So we can talk about that later if you guys have questions about designing Facebook leads. But you do have the opportunity to boost Facebook posts. Boosting a post, well, all that is, it's really easy to do. It basically allows a Facebook post that you create to be seen to people who have not yet liked your page. So boosting a Facebook post is a great way to get your brand out there to people who haven't had the opportunity to see it yet, and a great way to gain more likes. So that's, again, I recommend at this level, boosting posts. Do not create your own Facebook ads, even though Facebook ads are a great lead generating activity. Now, Facebook, again, it's not lead generating. It is solely designed on building the relationship. Facebook is designed, it is the best retention tool out there, because what happens with a good retention tool, it makes people consistently see your name and consistently see your message. And that's what Facebook does. It allows people to become and maintain a level of familiarity with you and your brand. You will get some leads off of it. I do know a lot of people will reach out to you basically off your Facebook page, but that certainly isn't the expectation. Facebook is also one of the best referral tools, because if somebody's ever asking a question like, hey, I have a question about my insurance, if somebody can tag your business page on that, and that's like an instant referral, and it notifies you of the tag and everything. So it is the best retention and the best referral tool. Not necessarily, your goal shouldn't be leads. Now, when it comes to the content of Facebook, stay away from selling. All my friends must think I'm ugly, can't dress myself, and need to lose weight, because I have all these people trying to sell me stuff on Facebook, and I completely ignore the content. People go on Facebook for 3 reasons: friends, families, hobbies. And I'm going to add a 4th one, and that's cat videos. Those are the only reasons people will actually go on social media like Facebook. And so making sure that you're driving content that's relative to that. So making things that are like, like we have on here, relevant content, like food, like recipes and food gets the highest click and the most attention on Facebook. So we always say, like, best cinnamon roll recipes for diabetics, or great fun cookies to make for you and your grandkids. Things that are relevant to the senior demographic without saying, hey, buy this cancer insurance policy, or see me for your AEP. Educational is great too, letting people know that it is the annual enrollment period, letting people know that they have until December 7th. That's educational, but it's not a sales pitch. People will learn to ignore sales pitch. And in fact, Facebook's algorithms have actually been designed to show sales and pitching like that less. So if you make a post that's talking and trying to set appointments, Facebook's algorithm is actually not going to show that to as many potential clients or prospects as well. So keep that in mind. What you're wanting to do is make sure that things stay super, super relevant, super, super personal. So we do also recommend posting about 3 to 5 times a week. This is where Facebook gets a bad rap, because it does have a bad, that's a lot of times, and to research all that information and come up with the content to post. So do what I do. Okay, I actually currently do in my spare time, quote unquote, I run about 6 Facebook pages between the charities that I orchestrate, my husband's business, and stuff for senior marketing specialist. And so what I do is on Sunday nights, I go and I can actually schedule out my posts for the next 2 weeks. And you don't have to do it like I do. I measure out my content based on how much wine I've drank. So it takes me about 3/4 of a bottle of wine a week on a Sunday night to be able to schedule out my post. But I schedule out my post on Sunday night so that it's out of sight, out of mind. I don't have to think about it for the next 2 weeks. As far as coming up with content, what some people will do will put like Google alerts that say like, hey, if you see the word Medicare in an article, Google can email those directly over to you. But for even more ease, what I recommend is actually joining SMS Agent Connect. It's a Facebook group, and all you do is, again, join SMS Agent Connect. We at Senior Marketing Specialists, we come up with content for you. Recipes, financial advice, cool things like last Friday was National Cat Day that we helped you guys celebrate with your clients. So join that. That is free, completely accessible through Senior Marketing Specialists. You have to have at least 1 contract with us, but it is content, again, that you don't have to worry about what's compliant. You don't have to worry about what's considered sales and what's not. It's also a great place to do what I call the humble brag. So if you are, volunteering at events, or if you saved a client like $1,500 a year, post about it, tag your clients. It's a great way to let people know that you're active in the community and that you're a good person. So keep that in mind. I want to make sure I'm covering everything that I wanted to cover in here. But again, maintain your Facebook page, do it in chunks. Set the only thing I would say about consistency is the only thing that's worse than not having a Facebook page is having an inactive Facebook page. So if you go to somebody's, business account and you see that they haven't made a post since 2020 or even earlier, or even if like 3 months ago, then a lot of people, it actually paints a story that they are out of business and not actively working. So again, it's really important that to make sure that you can maintain a Facebook page. We work with a lot of agents that actually hire it out. You don't need to hire it out because of SMS Agent Connect. 3/4 of a bottle of wine, that's how long it takes to schedule out 2 weeks at a time. And again, I do it for 6 pages. So you can do it for one. It may take you a lot less than that. So that's Facebook. Any questions we have in regards to maintaining the purposes of Facebook, how to make Facebook work for you? A really fun tip that I have in order to, again, because people have to like your page at the end of every appointment. Your business cards need to have it. Your website needs to have it. Everything. You need to say, go like my page on Facebook. If you enjoyed your experience, go write me a review on Facebook. Because again, 79% mentioned that they read reviews before they do on any shopping or with local businesses. A cool thing that we've had agents do in the past is do fun contests that say like and share this post for a chance to win a child's bicycle for the grandkids, or a chance to win tickets to, we work with a really fun organization, one of the best agencies as far as having a Facebook page, and they give out tickets to like rodeos and things like that. Like and share this post, and it encourages people, friends and family to like your content. When they like your content, they subscribe to your page and they see it. So keep that in mind. If we don't have any questions on that, I'm going to move over really quickly over to websites. Websites are very different than your social media platform. Websites are supposed to be a little bit, I hate to use the word stuffy, but they are supposed to be much more professional. Your website is your online resume. Why should people feel confident being your client? If your website is, hey, we're friends, or no, excuse me, if your Facebook page is, we're friends, we're buddies, we know each other, we go way back. Your website is like, your dating profile of how amazing you are. It's much more professional. It establishes who you are, what's your story. Now, what's your story is like your About Us page should take about 30 to 45 seconds to read. Don't write a novel. You're wasting your time. Nobody's going to read it. But it should be all reference into why are you here today? Why should somebody sit across the table from you? Include some personal pictures of you and your family, but keep in mind your website is much more professional. What can you help them with? Can you help them with Medicaid, with medical related insurance, Medicare insurance? Can you help them with their property and casualty? Make sure you're speaking their language. If you say, oh, I can help you with long-term care insurance. Well, we as agents know what that is, but the consumer may have no idea what long-term care means. So make sure you're saying, we can help you pay for nursing home stays. We can help you pay with the unexpected cost of cancer. Make sure you're speaking the language of the client with that. And ways to be contacted. Your contact information should be on every single page of that website. The more simple your website is, the better. So here's some ways, again, to maintain your website when you're having a website. Make sure it's up to date. Your website, your Facebook page, we say post 3 to 5 times a week. Your website really shouldn't change often whatsoever. It really should stay very, very stable, remain very the same throughout the year. Of course, if you have changes, you add lines, you add agents, you add staff, make sure your website's up to date with the content, but it's not nearly as high maintenance. There's one exception to that: blog posts. Blog posts are incredible for search engine optimization. Blog posts will get your website to pull up more than really anything. However, if you have to make sure that you are posting a blog once, twice, 3 times a week, once minimum. If you don't post that often, then a blog post is going to make you, again, look inactive, look like you're not in business anymore. So I personally tell agents, don't do a blog unless you have somebody dedicated to keeping that up to date on a weekly basis. Like I mentioned, have your contact information on every single page. People should not have to click more than one spot to figure out how to contact you. Now you can have like a contact us page that sends your email and everything like that, but your email address and website or excuse me, your email address and phone number should be on every single page of your website. I don't, the end goal should always be to contact you for more information. And I say that because people spend on average about 3 minutes on websites. People don't spend a ton of time on the website. They're usually there for a purpose. They get on, they get out. So it should be really easy to navigate. The end goal, what's the call to action? The call to action on a website is to contact you. I have worked with agencies that use their quote engine. They have a way to put a quote engine on their website. I'm not the biggest fan of that. Now, that's just my personal opinion. But the reason why I don't like quote engines on websites is because it trains your clients to only look at price. It trains your clients to only look at the cost of that plan, especially with med sups, when we know that there's so much more that goes into choosing a Medicare supplement than just the price and just the cost. So if you want to make sure, again, you're not replacing yourself with Google, then I would recommend not including quote engines on your website, but some people do see success with that. Every website should have an About Us page. Again, we've already kind of talked about the About Us. Should have a list of your services. So what products can you sell? Reminders, speak the language of the client, and include testimonials. Again, 79% of people read reviews before they utilize that service. So making sure that you're having a place where you can host up-to-date and change the flow of testimonials as well. I also encourage people to leave testimonials about you. And when people see that others are reviewing you and leaving testimonials, it makes them feel much more comfortable to do that as well. Again, really important, make it mobile friendly. They are showing that the number of people using desktops to access the internet is actually going down. In fact, a lot of the baby boomer demographics don't own computers. They do everything on their smartphones. So almost 70% of people over the age of 65 have a smartphone. So they're utilizing that to make sure your website is mobile friendly, easy to navigate, easy to use. And the biggest thing on a website is something that I call peacocking. Do not peacock on a website. Don't use bright colors, clip art. You want to really make sure that it looks professional. So making it very simple, very simplistic, easy to read, easy to understand. All the fonts in at least 12-point font, and make sure that you have the right disclaimers on the contact me, on the send in your information. Make sure you have a disclaimer stating that you're a licensed agent, and make sure that you have content on there as well that says if you fill out this form, it's likely that a licensed representative will be reaching out to you. So again, make sure that you have all the appropriate documentation as well. If you have a staff of agents under you or staff of clients, make sure you have a staff directory as well. We have a lot of complaints every AEP that somebody says, oh, somebody's calling people saying that they're from my office and they're not. So always make sure that you have a staff directory to tell people like, hey, if you're getting a call from somebody you're not familiar with the name, go to my staff directory, make sure that they actually work with me and they're not trying to bamboozle you. So that is, again, what we have here as far as making sure your website. Both Facebook and websites are wildly important, guys. It's just for very different things. Facebook, building the relationship, referrals, maintaining that sense of, hey, I'm a human. When you're calling in and working with me, you're not working with some huge corporation. Working with me means you're working with your friend, working with a human, working with somebody who cares about you. Your website, I'm professional. I have the resources to help you. I'm the best in the business. Call me because I'm going to be the best resource available to you. So on that note, guys, any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises? I kept it under 30 minutes like I hoped we would. And making sure, yeah, and Brian, I appreciate the analogy. He's like a mullet. Party, business in the front is your website. Party in the back is your Facebook page. That's the mullet of an online presence, and I am here for that. Thank you, Brian. I'm actually gonna steal that. Your online presence should be like a mullet. Party in the front, business in the front, party in the back. I love it. Yeah, so Terry said, thank you, Terry, for saying I don't sound like I'm gargling just like marbles here. Says I'm trying to do some constant contact. Great point. Constant contact, for those who don't know, is an email or email marketing. It allows you to send out a mass amount of emails. Great, email content and email marketing is a great way of generating, more so for referrals and retention, but still a great way of contacting your clients. Would glow to Facebook, to web, to constant, or what? So I want to make sure I'm understanding the question, Terry, but the biggest thing between all of your online presences would flow, yes. So the biggest thing I would recommend for all of my or all of your online presence is that your Facebook page should consistently point to your website. Your website should consistently point to your Facebook page, and all your other content should point to both of them. The more back and forth you get, the more back and forth traction you get between your Facebook page and your website, the more sticky that person is, and the more they become familiar with you because they get to see both sides of doing business with you. So again, that's a really great point, Terry, that I failed to mention. If the more you can get that traffic to flow between your Facebook page and your website, the more likely that client is going to be to call you. And your constant contact, again, that little Facebook logo, have that sucker everywhere, and having it, driving it to on your business cards, like me on Facebook. You really should be driving people to your online presence, because it's something, again, even if people don't know you and aren't familiar with you, they are familiar with Facebook. So there's a level of comfort of going to research somebody on Facebook because they're familiar with the platform already. Like I mentioned, you just want to go to where the people already are. If I offered you guys, like, hey guys, just so you know, almost 70% of America's seniors are going to be in this room. They're going to be in this room. You can also be in this room and talk to these people, and it costs you nothing. That's Facebook. There's a ton of studies out there, but they're showing close to 68 to 70% of people over the age of 65 are on Facebook. And that number has been growing every single year. COVID was a huge blow to get everybody onto Facebook. The Facebook numbers skyrocketed because people miss that face-to-face communication, that face-to-face conversation. So they went to Facebook to kind of supplement seeing their friends and families and loved ones. Once they got on there, kind of like the first hit's free, guys. Once they got on there, people became a habit to go to social media for a lot of this stuff. So Facebook is continuing to grow. Any other questions or comments, guys, in regards to having an online presence? We didn't talk about, Facebook leads today. Facebook leads is a whole nother animal. Don't recommend making your own. I do recommend purchasing those out. We didn't talk about LinkedIn or anything like that. More details to come. If you guys are looking for more training on how to have a Facebook page, how to maintain your website, go to smsteam.net, click the training tab, and then we have a training on our university that's all about maintaining an online presence. So I recommend just doing some digging on that, some really cool videos on there as well. And Brian says, 2 thumbs up for a Halloween costume. Yes, I'm going to stop recording really quick.